Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, if you own MicroStrategy, then you're going to want to stay and hear this because this might actually affect MicroStrategy and its share price in the future. If you are also an investor in a very popular YieldMax ETF, ticker MSTY, or the MSTY, the MSTR Option Income Fund ETF, then you'll definitely want to stick around and hear this as well. So without further ado, guys, let's dive into it. Okay, so there was an article that came out from the Wall Street Journal basically stating that MicroStrategy suddenly has a tax problem and needs help from Trump's IRS. New rules could tax unrealized gains on Bitcoin holdings at large companies. All right, and I don't pay for the Wall Street Journal. I probably should, but ain't nobody got time for that. So luckily, there was an article on Seeking Alpha that came out, and this was published on January 24th by Max Gottlieb. So appreciate you for publishing this. So MicroStrategy faces potential multi-billion-dollar tax on unrealized Bitcoin gains. Okay. And the article goes on to say that MicroStrategy, one of the largest corporate holders of Bitcoin, may be subject to a 15% tax on unrealized gains from its $47 billion stash, according to recent disclosures, which also noted by Michael Saylor, who's the CEO of MicroStrategy, that the company's Bitcoin holdings include $18 billion of unrealized gains. Okay, so they own almost $50 billion in Bitcoin, right? And they would owe about $18 billion, or they have about $18 billion in unrealized gains. That's really, really crazy. All right. So what's prompting this? Well, there's a so-called alternative minimum tax on investment gains, and this was introduced by the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that was passed by the Biden administration. Quick thing, we do not talk politics here. All right, we're not red, blue, or any other. We're just investors, and we care only about where we're going to put our money, how we're going to position ourselves, how we're going to position our portfolios to take advantage of any environment. All right, so with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's move on. All right, so this could potentially tax MicroStrategy on unrealized Bitcoin gains at a 15% tax rate, leading MicroStrategy to a potential multi-billion-dollar tax bill starting in 2026. Okay, so we're going to get into why this is such a big deal here in just a moment, okay? Especially for MSTR, especially for MicroStrategy. All right, especially for you as an investor who might own MicroStrategy or that might own that popular ETF MSTY. Okay, so as such, MicroStrategy is pushing for an internal revenue service IRS exemption, similar to the ones like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, arguing that there is no fundamental difference between or difference in accounting between stocks and crypto. All right, so let's break it down real quick. After this news broke, we saw MSTR's price go down. All right, but the market also had somewhat of a down day anyways, but we did see that MicroStrategy's price decline around the time that the article was published. So it was published at 6 a.m. The market opens at 9:30 a.m. So then, it just kind of declined as news started to break out. So what is MicroStrategy? Because there's a lot of people that may own MicroStrategy, but they're not actually sure what it is. All right, so just real quick, especially for viewers who aren't familiar with MicroStrategy, MicroStrategy is a company that offers the MicroStrategy One platform, and this platform is a business intelligence platform that companies can use to basically get a holistic picture of their entire company, right? And they integrated some AI analytics and a couple other reporting tools and things like that. It's basically some really, really fancy dashboards for large companies, right? It gives them like a snapshot of their entire company at once. But one thing I really want to draw your attention to is this part, right? So MicroStrategy is the world's first and largest Bitcoin treasury company, okay? So they're not even a software company, it seems like, anymore. We are a publicly traded company that has adopted Bitcoin as our primary treasury reserve asset. By using proceeds from equity, debt financing, as well as cash flows from our operations, we strategically accumulate Bitcoin and advocate for its role as digital capital. Okay, so real quick, I just want to explain what this is. They're using equity. So when you buy a share of MSTR, or maybe you want to buy, their preferred shares or whatever else they might offer, they're using all that money to go buy more Bitcoin. Okay, so they use that money to buy more Bitcoin, add it to its balance sheet. they're also using debt financing in order to buy more Bitcoin, okay, as well as cash flows from operations. So whenever they sell a subscription to their MicroStrategy 1, whatever profit they're making, they're using that money to go buy more Bitcoin. So any way, shape, or form, if they get money, if they get their hands on money, if they can get their hands on money, they're going to use it to go buy more Bitcoin. And this has not stopped them. This is absolutely true 100% that they have been buying lots of Bitcoin. There is a article from Investopedia that MicroStrategy bought another $1 billion in Bitcoin last week, and this was published on January 21st by Kyle Torpy. All right. And so MicroStrategy has purchased another $1.1 billion worth of Bitcoin for its treasury, which brings its total holdings to 461,000 Bitcoin, which is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. MicroStrategy has bought another $1.1 billion in Bitcoin, its largest purchase in more than a month, and its 11th consecutive week of buying Bitcoin. Wild that they've been buying a lot of Bitcoin and they don't seem to stop. Okay, but let's take a look at something very important here that some people may not have noticed, or maybe they've noticed, whatever, right? So let's take a look. So this is Bitcoin. So they have 461,000 coins, almost worth $50 billion, right? Because currently right now, Bitcoin is priced at 104,000 as of the making of this video. So let's look at this chart real fast, okay? And let's look at the price of MSTR. Do you see the similarities between here and here? They're almost following one in one, right? Whenever Bitcoin goes up, so does MSTR. Whenever Bitcoin goes down, so does MSTR, right? Very, very close to each other. They're trading very close to each other. Michael Saylor is on record for saying that he wants MSTR to be a stock that people invest into, right, to get exposure to Bitcoin, but he also wants MSTR to outperform Bitcoin, okay? And we can see that in here. Our treasury strategy is designed to provide investors with varying degrees of economic exposure to Bitcoin by offering a range of securities, including equity and fixed income instruments. So basically common shares, the common stock that you can buy, ticker MSTR. You can buy that on almost any brokerage account, but also fixed income instruments, basically preferred shares or bonds, right? So that's what they're offering. I don't know what those preferred shares are or what those bond instruments are, kind of outside of the scope of this video, but basically they're no longer just a software company, right? They're no longer just the software company that offers MicroStrategy 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if later they kind of just destroy or get rid of that whole that whole like segment of their business. And I say that because if you look at their earnings, MicroStrategy has not really been making a lot of money. As a matter of fact, you can look right here, and they've year over year they've been like losing money. They've been hemorrhaging money. In 2022 they had profits of $499 million, right? In 2024, September of 2024, they only had $116 million, right? Year over year they've been going down 10%, right? And it's just not getting any better, right? It's just not getting any better. I can't see. At least, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. And maybe I'm reading these charts wrong, but it is very surface level information. But it doesn't look like they've been making money for a very long time, for about a year now. Okay. Even in 2023, they were still year over year in the negative, in the red. And then this is just worse, right? So the only thing propping up MSTR is the Bitcoin holdings, right? Is their Bitcoin holdings. This is why this is such a big deal if this happens. If they have to pay the tax on Bitcoin, because if they have to pay the tax on Bitcoin, this is going to really severely make MSTR drop not only in share price, but their balance sheet, because they had to get rid of so much of their Bitcoin. Okay. So there's a lot of investors who invest into YieldMax, right? Especially into the MSTY, YieldMax MSTR option income strategy ETF. Okay. There's a line in here that I just want to point you to. The fund's strategy will cap its potential gains if MSTR shares increase in value. The fund's strategy is subject to all potential losses if MSTR shares decrease in value, which may not be offset by the income received by the fund. Okay, so just be aware that if MSTR goes down in value, that MSTY will also probably have as much share price decline, or NAV decline as MSTR. Okay, so just something to be aware of, because I know a lot of investors love MSTY. As a matter of fact, I've been doing a lot of research on MSTY myself, which led me down this rabbit hole, and this is why I'm reporting this, right, and putting this video out. So real quick, let's go back to this article, and I just want to give you guys kind of some thoughts to close up this video, right? Because this is bad news, but we have until 2026 to really figure out if this is going to happen, right? This is when, because we got to do the whole 2025 year, and then whatever the gain is, and then they'll have to figure that out in 2026. But let's talk about a couple risks, market risks, and then what could be a benefit. We'll talk with the bad first. Basically, if this happens, this is going to lead MSTR to have to sell Bitcoin, which is going to drop its price. And then that's also going to affect any MSTY holders, right? Any MSTY ETF investors. Okay. So again, you just want to be aware of that. You just want to think about that as well. Now, what could be the upside? What could be the benefit? Well, our current administration is very pro crypto, right? So that could be a huge tailwind, right? That could be a huge advantage. I can't see the Inflation Reduction Act being around much longer. Honestly, I can't see it. I've already seen a little news articles here and there of, halts on the Inflation Reduction Act already starting to occur. So I could honestly see that this will not be a problem for MSTR. Now, what about Bitcoin? Because this is the big one. Bitcoin's price has been going higher and higher, and MSTR is almost directly tied to that. So what if Bitcoin goes down? Well, MSTR is going to go down, but what could be a bad headwind for Bitcoin? Well, depending on how the economy is, depending on how inflation acts, and depending on how the Fed acts, if they keep rates the same this year, they've already said that they're going to cut it twice, but depending on how inflation acts, if inflation increases because of the current administration's policies, on tariffs, if that raises costs of goods and services, and causes more inflation, the Federal Reserve is going to have to act, and they'll probably either keep rates elevated, which would put downward pressure on Bitcoin. But if they increase the interest rate, which is a very slight, very minimal possibility, but if they were to, then that would put some downward pressure on Bitcoin as well, at least in my opinion. Okay. So if that happens, MSTR is also going to get affected, and so would MSTY. All right. But hopefully the smart geniuses at YieldMax, who have this fund and have almost a cult-like following, maybe they might be able to take advantage of that and, adjust the fund and probably do more, whatever magic that they do in the background to continue the distribution rate that, has been, 102% over these last couple of months. So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and we have to just basically sit and wait and see how this current administration is going to act with regards to crypto. Because right now, the SEC ex-chairman Gary Gensler was really tough on crypto, but he's going out, he's on the way out, and they're bringing in someone new. I believe his name's Paul Atkins. Don't quote me on that name, but Paul somebody. But the new SEC chair that is incoming is very friendly towards the crypto industry. So we could see Bitcoin's price continue to rise, which means MSTR's price would continue to rise, which, probably means MSTY would also continue their distributions, and the NAV would probably also increase as well. So that is it for this video, guys. Again, a lot to take in. There is a lot to think about. Again, we have to wait and see. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you remember to diversify. And with that, if you guys like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know. Are you guys investing in MSTY? Do you guys think, MSTY is going to maintain its distribution for the next year? Do you think Bitcoin is going to continue going up? Do you think it's going to go down? I would like to hear your thoughts because, maybe I have some type of bias. All right. And also just a quick reminder, I am doing lives Monday to Friday every day, 8 o'clock. Okay. So remember to hit that notification bell so you guys know when I go live. All right. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.